Hello there, and welcome to ProCAStination PodCASt, Episode 1, The IB Experience. Hello there. It has truly been a long time since the release of our trailer episode. And to be honest, it has been a really demanding second year of IB. Some can say that we procrastinated the entire episode, which is true to some extent. In a manner of the name of the ProCAStination podcast, that makes it poetic. But given that this is a huge self-initiated project, it is no mystery why the first episode took so long to record. But no worries, you can expect more regular content soon. As IB students in our last year, I think everybody can more or less relate to the struggles of deadlines, exams, and university applications that we have been and still are going through. Since this was the last day of school, we thought what an amazing opportunity to reflect on our IB journey and talk about the IB program in general, what can be expected of it, what's probably the hardest and the easiest bit. Most importantly, what did we gain from the program? I have a feeling you're going to enjoy our first episode. I'm certainly proud of how it turned out. Stay tuned for the end, as you will also hear an electric guitar cover of our main tune that just played. Now, without further introduction, here are some frequently asked questions about the IB program. Now, the first question, which is going to be answered by me, is why did we join the IB program in the first place? It was a 2-year-long promotion from our school, which has worked tirelessly on enrolling the first ever IB students from our generation. My connection to the IB goes far back to my first year, which is 3 years ago from now. I participated in the promotion process, mainly at town science fairs and exhibitions of any kind. I think we all saw the IB as a kind of prestigious international program, and as aspiring students we were rushing to enroll in it. At the time, it seemed like the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic stopped the IB plan that our school had developed. But to our surprise, it continued amidst that. It was a very confusing state that we were in as a generation, to say the least, wanting to escape this regular school program and being promised this new revolutionary IB program. The rest of the questions will now be answered by other IB students, my class peers. So, the second question says, one thing in which IB differs from regular school programs is what? And is this a good or a bad thing?
The way IB differs is not necessarily good nor a bad thing. Yes, there are less subjects, you go more thoroughly through them. I feel like in the normal program I could say whatever I want, but here they say, well, you can say whatever you want, but we don't condole in it. We will not accept it. You can say it, but we will not accept it. In general, it's better made than the normal program, let's say.
So, yeah, in general, I mean, IB does, of course, have less subjects than the general program that we have. That's a good and a bad thing at the same time, because having less subjects means that you're only going to be focusing on fewer subjects and generally things that are more connected. On the other hand, you always have the problem of the fact that there's way too much knowledge in every subject. Yeah, in general, it has both the good and the bad side.
Third question, how did you come about CAS, or Creativity Action Service, part of the IB? Is there a personal project or experience that you're proud of, and do you think regular school programs should implement something like CAS?
When it comes to CAS, I must say that it was a lot of fun. I mean, I did have a lot of fun while doing it, mostly because I didn't stick to just a couple of things that I repeated, but I had to do different things, and I'm definitely most proud of a short movie that we've made. It was something that I initiated, but it's generally something that I would like to do in the future, which is, I think, maybe the most important part of CAS, that you can do something that you really like.
Interesting experience, I have to say. I didn't think that it would plan out that way, but you work with a lot of people, you work with your peers, it's fun, you do things that actually help your community, and well, The proudest one, I'm proud of all of them, I would say. Just having fun and being with my peers and helping everyone around. If I have to choose one of them, I would say cleaning the promenade or the green space near the river.
When it comes to CAS experiences, for me in the beginning it was a bit challenging, but I think that it should definitely be implemented because it's very creative way to do something productive and make connections with a lot of people and help someone. I didn't expect that in the beginning, but it turned out that way. I'm proud on my project. I made a painting that should be given to my school to inspire other students. But also when we were doing workshops for younger kids, that was the first time ever I played my guitar in front of someone. It was a very interesting experience.
Question number 4. We took Serbian, English, and biology as high-level subjects. As for our standard subjects, we took mathematics, analysis and approaches, chemistry, and our class could choose between geography and philosophy on a standard level. What subjects did you find the most interesting, and why?
For me, definitely the most interesting subject was philosophy because we covered a lot of new things. From all of the subjects, maybe it's the one that includes the most critical thinking skills and analysis and evaluation.
Geography, definitely, I would say, because it's my personal choice. I like geography the most. Some part of it is because of professor, actually, and her way of teaching us, and my peers who were there just making every class fun and not being like normal classes where you just sit, read, and you need to learn. This was proactive, let's say.
I find TOK really interesting, since it's something integral to the IB only. Like CAS, it's not seen as a subject, but it is still graded at the end of the program. In your experience with TOK, its purpose and assignments, what makes TOK stand out like that? Is it something schools should also implement?
There's really a lot of things that you can learn about the philosophy of the subjects in general. When you actually ask somebody to explain what history is, I'm pretty sure that most people won't be able to tell you what it is. Learning about the specific sciences that you're learning about, I definitely think that we should know a bit more about the sciences themselves before just starting to learn everything that's in the curriculum. So definitely TOK is a very important thing that I think that most programs should have.
Next question. Are the assignments truly that hard in the IB? What was the hardest assignment that you were assigned? Was it any of your IAs? Extended essay maybe?
Depends on how hard you want to work. Assignments that you will probably be given by the teachers throughout the year, they are not that hard, but when we are talking about the things you write and are sent to IB for your real grades, they are hard. I think for me, extended essay was the hardest one because you need to go into it a little bit more thoroughly than you would do in any of the other assignments you will be given. It is 4,000 words, which is not easy to write, believe me.
Well, for me personally, internal assessment from chemistry was the hardest one because I'm not a big fan of chemistry and I never was. There are a lot of informations and a lot of new things and different approach than in regular class. For example, extended essay for me wasn't that hard because I chose something that really is interesting to me, and I think that is the key part of all the assignments and essays that you need to write in IB.
So then, is the demandingness of the subject more to do with the material itself or the teacher in your own experience?
I don't know. That's a tough question. I mean, the material itself is interesting, definitely, and the teacher always does quite a lot to try to make it interesting as well. But like when it comes to demand, both the teacher and the curriculum are demanding. I believe that if I had a different teacher for any of the subjects, definitely things would have changed, but it would have changed even if I had another curriculum as well. The professors, of course, are demanding, but for a reason. And so I wouldn't say that it's only one of the two, it's both.
Is there a difference between your viewpoint of the IB when we recorded our trailer episode, which would be April 2021, and now? How did your mindset about the IB change throughout the program?
It's been some time since then, not way too much, but still things have changed, of course. The deadlines have come by, and it's definitely more tough now, which of course impacts the way I see the program. There is a slope that's not really consistent, so it means that it gets more difficult as time goes. I didn't get the feel that the professors actually stressed enough how much we should be doing in the very beginning. I must say that it's a bit worse now than then, because then I've had a bit more freedom when it comes to, selecting what things I want to do when. Now it all comes down to deadlines, and I often don't even have enough time to do some CAS activities that I want to do. So, of course, it all goes down to just time allocation and what you do with your schedules, but it's definitely changed.
And lastly, have you evolved to fit all the characteristics of the IB learner profile?
To be honest, I think that you can go through the whole program without being anything of it. I think that I have maybe 2 out of how many there are. For anyone trying to go into IB and think, well, I need to be those things, you don't need to be those things.
That's a funny question. I believe that someone else is also going to say this, but I still don't really know what the IB learner profile is exactly and precisely and by heart. We did get quite a few lessons in the very beginning about how it's really important to have all those characteristics, all that. We've used some of the characteristics to form some CAS activities. It's things that are very important in classes, but you don't mention them explicitly. But I've definitely improved. But when it comes to the learner profile, I've improved in some segments, but definitely not all. It goes back to the fact that I don't really know all of them by heart. I wouldn't say that I'm really fit, but in a few years, it'll definitely help my professional growth in life. So yeah.
In conclusion, there's a certain amount of skepticism, but also hopefulness in the IB program here in Serbia, as you can hear. I think the combination of both is what you would realistically expect. But in the end, it all depends on you as a student. Time management and work ethic are the most prominent characteristics that you will need, but on a personal note, getting out of your comfort zone and achieving balance in your everyday life will in the end make IB more feasible. There is some injustice you will face, and it's just like in the regular school programs, IB doesn't differ from that. It's about making a change and following your ambitions, while also being persistent and tenacious. If you're ready for that, you're ready for the IB. I really hope you found this episode interesting, useful, or maybe even both. I am really happy to finally release this episode on Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube channel, and our Instagram account as well. I wonder from which platform you're tuning in right now. From wherever you may hear this episode, make sure to leave a comment or a question. We would really appreciate it. Until next time, this was ProCAStination PodCASt. Bye!